Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Future gear from 2027. We're talking tents, backpacks, sleeping pads, doodads, and much more. Chase from Outdoor Empire joined me to discuss our 8 favorite pieces of gear that are coming your way next year. Welcome to the Backpacking Blisters podcast. We are tips and tales with a sense of humor. This episode is brought to you by Enlighten Equipment, the current and future makers of the best ultralight gear. Lighten your load at enlightenequipment.com. With me today is the emperor of the Outdoor Empire, Chase Fly. How's it going today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I have never been referred to as an emperor, but thank you.
Yeah, and I can do that moving forward if you want to, but I definitely have some questions about your YouTube channel title for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Along those lines, Backpacking Magazine has you ranked as the 3rd most influential empire in our modern age.
Interesting.
Care to guess who's ranked above you? Keeping in mind that there's no countries currently that are empires, unless you count United States, which other countries might suggest.
Okay. Now, are these empires do they include gear brands, or is it only like content creator types?
I think they're both gear brands. Yeah, they are.
Okay, very interesting. Well, first, I'm not going to lie. I did not know that.
Yeah.
We were on there. And 2, who might they be? Who's built it? Maybe like a garage grown gear. In my mind, they're doing pretty great things. Maybe if it's all has to do with creating kingdoms and
has to do with the word empire more than anything else.
Yeah, all right. If it's just the empire, then Zempire, that New Zealand camping brand. How about them? Are they on there?
I think they're 4th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, these are not outdoor brands. I've got Empire Records.
Oh, of course.
And Empire Flooring, which has that little jingle.
Oh, I don't know the jingle. Can you sing it?
1-800-523-EMPIRE.
All right.
Yeah, and they got like a little cartoony guy. Something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so not a lot of empires out there these days, though, right?
I guess not. Well, yes, I guess that's one way to make a list is just have it in your name.
So, okay, so by definition, aren't empires imperialistic and looking to conquer enemies? Isn't that?
Yes, but there's the empires that know their purpose, and there's empires like us that are really not interested in that purpose. We're just like, I like to say we're softcore campers. We're not summiting any mountain peaks. We're not conquering other lands. We're just like chilling in a chair with a Coca-Cola and just watching the river go by and all of the armies go into battle with it, I suppose. We're just hanging out.
Okay. You're like the Empire Army B team, so to speak.
There we go, yeah. B team, or the guys that didn't realize we were supposed to go in and play the game. We're just here to have a good time.
I thought I was just watching. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So this next question, I'm not going to ask you about who's on your list to conquer. I guess that doesn't apply.
Yeah, right. No, not really.
All right. So one of your videos you put out, actually you did a couple videos in this. This one kind of blew me away. You did a cooler test challenge, and I think the most recent one you had was 55 coolers.
Yes, it was.
55 coolers.
Yes, it was.
If you haven't checked that video out, I'll have it linked in the show description. It's pretty dang cool, and you do a really good job. And I like how you describe it. You're like, this isn't science. We're just putting the coolers in the shade.
That's right. Yeah, we do not do scientific lab tests, and the comments are rife with people's opinions on our methods.
Okay.
And they have been, because this is actually the 4th year we've done that.
Is it the 4th year?
That kind of test,
wow.
Yeah. So, and each year we've done a few more. I think the very first year we had 28 coolers, and that was one of the very first YouTube videos we actually put out.
Wow.
We put it out pretty early. I want to say it was like May of 2023 or something like that. And it kind of worked. I guess people like just seeing a lot of the same thing go head to head and tested at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we worked our way up. We own more than 55 coolers. We didn't put them all in the test because some of them have been seen before, and some of them that didn't do great, we kind of like leave out the next year and we bring in a new wave of contenders, but keep some of the old top performers. And Yeah, it's an ordeal.
Okay.
That's a production, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So I on your thumbnail, you literally have them stacked in like a tower.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, that's like an AI generated thumbnail, immediately in the video, you're literally standing in front of them, so you know it's like a real tower of coolers.
No, that is not AI. That is Chase Fly.
There's your new tagline right there.
There we go.
Anyway, so my question was, like, I have a hard enough time with lightweight backpacking gear, finding a place to store some of this stuff. Where are you putting all these? You have like a storage unit? Where's all this going?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question because coolers are voluminous, as you might imagine. They take up a lot of space. And my garage didn't last very long, and I like to put other things in my garage. So we did have a cooler or a cooler storage unit for a while. I mean, it wasn't a cooled storage unit. That's what the naysayers would have liked us to do for our test. But no, we had a storage unit. We had 80 to 100 coolers in there at any given time over a couple of years because some would come and go. We do these weekly giveaways in our email newsletter, and so we'd send some out to people, and then we get some new ones for the next test. And
those things are massive to send.
I know, yeah. We learned that pretty quick after sending a handful. We're like, oh, geez, I think it'd be cheaper just to buy that person a new cooler,
right?
But so we've sold some on Marketplace and stuff too here locally. So and try to fund the next crop of coolers. But
so if you're like, I want to bring that Yeti cooler on a trip, and it's the back bottom of pile.
Then I go for whatever's on the front top.
Okay.
No, but now at this point, we did get rid of the storage unit, and a buddy of mine, John, he's got a shop at his place, and he's got just like a covered parking area just next to it, like a little overhang. And so right now they're all stacked out there. We decided to ditch the storage unit. We culled the herd a little bit, and so we've got fewer now. But still, I mean, we're still probably six over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. I bet we've been through 150 coolers at least. But
I'm curious if one of these is going to be on your list here. So
yeah.
Chase and I met, so we were at a Denver media show, which is like previewing gear that's coming out. Some of it's coming out like in the fall, some of it's coming out in the spring. I think all the ones I mentioned are coming out in the spring of 2027. So we're going to discuss what our favorite or like the most interesting pieces of gear were that we saw from the show. We haven't, at least I haven't, tested any of these out yet. They just kind of show them to you. Like they're
right.
For some of these, like they're not even out yet. You can't even test them out. And so we're going to show you previews of them and talk about them, what we're most excited about. And then before we get to that though, just going through meeting with all these different companies, there's a ton of outdoor trends that stood out to me. Were there any that stood out to you?
Yes.
Okay. What you got?
Well, one that stood out to me is it's like all these people, all these brands had a revelation at the same time that we should make a rain jacket.
Oh my goodness.
But it should be smaller and lighter and fewer pockets. And so there's all these like ultralight and then ultralight rain jackets, you know, and some of them look pretty cool, admittedly. I don't know how much they're going to cost. Probably a lot more than the Ziploc bag that is equivalent in weight, but they're kind of cool. But I know Rab had one, Outdoor Research had one.
Dude, there's like 20 of them. There's a ton of them.
There were. I can't even list them all, but there were a lot.
Yeah.
There were a lot of those like super ultra lightweight rain jackets.
The most expensive one that I could find, I think, was by Fjall Raven.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I want to say it was definitely north of $500. It might. I forget the price. I don't want to missay the price, but it was definitely over $500. Yeah. Possibly over $600. But yeah, there was, I don't know. It wasn't just, for me, it wasn't just rain jackets. It was like everybody had rain jackets and sun hoodies. Like those are the two.
Yeah, true. Sun hoodies were hot. That's for sure.
Right.
There were a lot of those. The other thing I noticed, there's a bunch of those footwear, you know, shoe companies out there. And I can't remember who it was that said it first, so I don't want to rat anybody out because it's no big deal in the end of the world at the end. But they said, we're the first to have Gore-Tex Invisible Fit on a trail runner or a hiking shoe.
Is it Oboes?
Gore-Tex Invisible Fit, which I guess is some membrane, you know, water resistant or proof or whatever.
Right.
That goes normally in like rain jackets or apparel.
Right.
And now they're putting it on a shoe. And I remember whoever told us said they were the first ones. And then I proceeded to see like 5 other companies that also have Gore-Tex Invisible Fit on a shoe. So I'm like, well, I guess there's everybody's showing up at the same time
They
this
are.
year,
But they're not the first, I guess, which...
or they're all the first,
Yeah,
everybody gets a blue ribbon kind of a deal.
tie,
State
yeah.
fair. Yeah.
That's not one that I caught. I did notice that with the shoe thing, you have brands that are devoted to like being boot brands essentially, right? They've been boot brands for decades, and now they're like, okay, we got to get a trail runner in. So thinking like Oboes and Danners specifically, and there's like every brand had a trail runner, and what trail runner means is very different to different brands. Like to me, a lot of it looked like a light hiker, like it's a pretty heavy shoe, but
go
ahead.
They've done with hiking shoes the same thing that was done with SUVs in the 2000s. There's there was like a Suburban,
right,
and there was like a Toyota 4Runner or a Jeep. And now there's everything in between, like there's the RAV4, and there's the Highlander, and there's a 4Runner, and there's a Sequoia. There's all these steps up, and then crossovers and the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, like Danner's new trail runner, which does look like an interesting shoe to me. It was I noticed that it's not as light and fast probably as a trail runner, but it's definitely a step down in robustness from their classic.
Sure.
What is it, the 2650 or whatever?
Yeah, and their names were based on like mileages of the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, which I thought was cool. But like realistically, a lot of those trail runners were not. I'm not running in those. Like I'm actually a trail runner, and I would never run in those. I would backpack in them though, or hike in them for sure. So
yeah, sure,
yeah, but anyway, that was okay. So for me, the trends were. There's I kept on hearing like everybody's into natural fibers. That's like the new green thing. And so there was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 wool companies that were there all telling you about their sun hoodies and underwear. Like with those companies and then with a lot of other companies, I don't know if you noticed this, but the colors on products are very bland. Like very muted. Like you get the muted, like the olive greens, the browns, the grays, even like the muted blues. Like it's just, there's no like popping colors, not on all the brands, but I would say on most of them. Did you catch that?
Yeah, but maybe that's why there's 2 bright ones that like are stuck in my head, and they were those lightweight rain jackets. One was like a bright royal blue one from Rab that a guy showed me, and then one was like a bright, it made me think of like a fishing lure, like chartreuse from Outdoor Research.
Chartreuse.
It was also their super light rain jacket. So I was like, oh.
Okay.
So, but maybe they just stood out because most of them weren't that way.
I didn't get to all the companies because it was so packed. Actually, I think I just missed the meeting with Rab. Like I just blew it on that one. But yeah, there was some other companies like Serona, I think, had some really bright colors too. But it was just like, especially with the wool brands, company after company had these. I called them like, at one point, like I went to Kelty and I was like, because they had like this, brown rainfly on their tent. And I was like, all right, what's up with the communist colors? Like, what's going on here? Every company's doing this. And I said it nicely, but anyway, just very non-standout-ish, I guess. So.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's the era we're entering.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the company driving that or the company's driving that or just like anticipated trends or whatever, but just, I guess, be ready for that, folks. Not as many color choices.
Yeah, well, part of it might lean on to, and people stand on both sides of this issue, but everybody seems to force the word sustainability into the conversation,
right?
And so and bless their hearts, everybody's trying to do a good thing, but not everybody is like convinced that making more stuff is also sustainable. So I think there's 2 sides to that argument. But also, I think with the dyes they're trying to use and less water, I think that's part of why it's easier to dye a fabric a more muted color with, they're more, I don't know if they're natural dyes or probably not all natural dyes, but, they're not using quite as many chemicals as they used to. So that might be part of it too. Maybe it's just harder to get those bright colors that pop from and also be able to tell your sustainability story.
For sure. Being on the older side, I'm kind of just like, kind of whatever about some of that stuff because you're like, we have these water bottles that had like BPA in them, which is a very small ingredient that doesn't really cause cancer, but people freaked out about that years ago. Then we have the PFAS stuff. People freaked out about that, and they're like, okay, now we're good. Like now all of those harmful chemicals are out of our products forever. No, it's just stuff they haven't figured out yet is bad. It's in them, right? Like we just don't really know yet. Because
that's true.
It's not long-term tested. So there's something there right now that's killing us.
Yeah, or the idea that if you want to really be sustainable, just don't buy this thing and keep using the thing you already have.
That's right. Repair something and keep using it rather than just chucking it, right?
Right. Yep.
That's hilarious. All right. So there's some trends right there. That's fun. You hit on something that, I didn't even think of.
Well, one other quick one that I thought of
Yeah.
is I did notice, even with some of the bigger brands, there's still a bunch of the high-end, like really expensive stuff. They're like pushing the needle up that direction, but also maybe pushing the needle a little bit down on the affordable side, or they have, and this is our, budget brand, or this is our affordable offer. Or
Right.
even like brands like Marmot or Kelty are sort of embracing their position as a more value-oriented brand.
Right.
And they that's part of what they're, and these are all like PR people, right? So these people are there to tell the story to the media and say, this is what we want you to tell the world. And
Right.
so that did seem to be a part of the conversation to me.
So, and they are very careful with the word budget. So I think value,
That's true.
Value, I think is what you mentioned.
Budget is my word.
Yeah, but then I told him, I kind of pushed back. I was like, I don't think people associate budget with necessarily bad quality. I think when you're hearing that in the outdoor world, you're just hearing like, this is something that's like, it may not be the best, but it's going to be good for a better price. So anyway, that was good. The other thing I noticed, though, I also noticed the flip side. So when you start talking about like these sun hoodies, and somebody's like, yeah, this is our latest sun hoodie, it's $180. Or the rain jackets you already mentioned. You also have the high end stuff where I'm just like, if you're like, okay, well, I'm going to buy this really premium piece of gear for outdoor use, backpacking, whatever. Great. But then if you look at it kind of objectively, wait a minute, I'm spending $180 on a shirt that I'm only using periodically.
Yeah.
Is that a good investment? I don't know.
I think you do know. I think you could buy mini shirts for that same price.
I get in trouble with this. Like, as being a teacher, I'm always like, yeah, that's a ripoff or that's a bad deal. People are like, not everybody's on a teacher's salary, Carl. Like some of us are, Jeff Bezos. So
yeah, right, yeah. No, and I know, I joke because I like some of that nice stuff too. I enjoy it, but the reality is that's not required to go outside and do your thing.
Right,
not at all.
For sure. I was just telling my wife, I'm like, for $180, like I could just wear a t-shirt, arm sleeves, and wear like one of those hats that has the flaps coming down the back, and like that's going to be a fraction of the cost, but not as cool,
true.
I guess.
All
right. Okay, so we got 4 pieces of gear each that we are going to talk about that stood out to us. Future gear. All right, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
Okay. All right, well, we already mentioned Kelty, so I'm going to talk about Kelty specifically. I was poking fun at their colors, but they do have something cool coming out. It's called the Early Start Tent. It comes in a 2-person and a 3-person. I think for backpacking, more people are using the 2-person, in my opinion. So the 2-person weighs in at 2 pounds, 10 ounces. Is it the lightest tent in the market? It is not, but it is lightweight for a Kelty tent and for just tents in general. But tent prices have skyrocketed over the years. So what's cool about this one is this is actually at a reasonable tent cost price at $280.
Yes. That was actually the first one I had written on my list too.
Is that right? Okay.
And for that very reason, like a reasonable price, you think of Kelty. I think of Kelty. They are also one of those value brands, I suppose.
Right.
You don't think of them as a super expensive high-end stuff, but that was a very impressive tent. And even the 3P, which, when I go with my kids or something, I prefer to be in a 3P tent if I'm 2 people. Like, I like a little elbow room and the long, wide pads.
For sure.
That's at 3 pounds, 14 ounces is what I had in my notes, and $380. And even that for a 3P tent that's under 4 pounds, split between 2 people, you're each carrying less than a couple pounds. That's pretty darn good. I think that's totally reasonable. That's where I would like the prices to be. That's, you can find cheaper, of course. You can definitely find more expensive, but that's sort of falls in that zone of like, yeah, that sounds right.
I think you can find cheaper. I should have done a comparison here. Like Teton has cheaper tents, I think. Yeah. They're not a ton cheaper, but I want to say you're looking at least 5 pounds for like a 2-person tent. So which is still doable for backpacking. But if you're talking about, you don't want to kill yourself, I think. And then in addition to that, so we haven't tried this out, of course, but I've used Kelty gear a lot. I've actually never had Kelty gear break on me. Like it's quality stuff.
Yeah.
So this could last you. This could be an entry level tent, but it could last you a long time, especially if you only go, backpacking, camping once or twice a year. So
yeah, my first backpacking pack was when I was in Boy Scouts as a teenager. Was a Kelty external frame one. It was teal and purple color, which was super awesome at the time in the 90s.
Right.
And so that was I mean, it's a brand that's been around a long time. I'm sure it's evolved and changed ownership and all that jazz, but I think that product with the materials, it's like a ripstop nylon, and it even packed down. I don't know if you saw that bag for the 2P, but it's a bike pack size, even the poles break down tiny. So pretty sweet little package, I thought, for the money.
And speaking of that, that's another trend that I forgot to mention, is a lot of tent brands are making their tent pole lengths shorter specifically for bike packing. So
yeah, they're trying to jump on that trend for sure.
They are. They are. Okay. All right. So that's what I'm excited about to check out. Hopefully get a chance to check that out in the future. All right. What's your first one?
All right. So mine that I'm going to go with first then is from Rab. This is kind of the opposite side of the price spectrum, but they've got this Rab Mythic quilt. So I think the Rab Mythic sleeping bag has been out. I'm not a big mummy bag guy. I rarely, I'll use them to try them out or test them every once in a while, but that's just not how I sleep. I flail about. So I like the quilt, and it looks like a pretty sweet quilt, and it is ultralight. Things I liked about it. And did you make it in to see that one or no?
No, I missed the meeting. I just looked at the schedule wrong. It's the only meeting I missed, so it sounds like I missed it.
Yeah, it was cool. It's like it's shaped a little different. Even the way it's got a foot box, sewn in, so it's not one that lays totally flat. But it's got this straps. Even the straps to go under your pad are actually pretty thoughtfully designed. I don't think the strap part is new. I think maybe I've never used a Rab quilt before, so I'm not really sure what I'm comparing it to in the past. But I was impressed by the utility and the little fittings and stuff. It looked like, because I've slept into some quilts when it's the middle of the night. I'm a middle-aged man now. I got to get up and answer nature's call, at 3 a.m. And when you got a high fidget factor to be able to get yourself out of your sleeping system, out of the tent door, and then outside, that's a problem. And so this quilt looks very easy to exit. And actually, that's one of the reasons I like that Kelty Early Start tent too, is because they just brilliantly put the zipper right for the rain fly, right next to you when you reach out the main door. So you don't have to do, Pilates to unzip the rain fly like you do in most tents. Anyway, I digress. So this Rab Mythic quilt, it looks like it would be a very comfortable quilt to lay in. It's incredibly lightweight. I can't remember what fill power down it was. It was one of the big hundreds, 900, 800 something. And then it, I like the straps. I like the foot box. Then they like to come up with their fancy words, and their fancy word of the day was TILT, which stands for Thermo-Ionic Lining Tech. Thermo-Ionic Lining Tech.
Okay.
Basically, it looks shiny. It looks like a space blanket inside. And he described it as what they have done is they have vaporized the metal, infused that or coated the threads of the fabric in that, and before weaving it together. So that in the end, you get that kind of reflective insulation value of mylar or of a reflective blanket, but you get the breathability of a quilt. And I thought that, it's a story. That's a fun story to tell. It did look compelling, though, because it packs down super tiny and it probably weighs next to nothing. I think it'd be like a summertime quilt. They didn't even have I don't think they had the testing done yet for the temperature ratings and all that. But it looked curious to me, like something I'd definitely try. But I don't know if it's something I would honestly buy, because when it's my own money, I really hesitate to spend well into the hundreds of dollars for a single piece of gear. You know what I mean?
I would like to give you the attention span award for you must have been taking copious notes. You're talking about their acronym. You're talking about how metal is vaporized.
Attention span award. That is something I've never received. Can you write that down? I'm going to put it right here.
When I'm talking to the 6th Wool Company and they're talking about why their wool is better and their sheeps are more well taken care of than the next sheep, I'm checking out. Sorry. So yeah, you did better than me.
Yeah.
Well done.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that one.
It looks like a cool quilt.
Vaporized metal that can.
That was a nice story.
Like theoretically, if it's doing its job, then it would need less down and therefore less weight in the quilt. So I'll ask him about that.
I think that's the idea.
Right.
There's something about the quilting too. The way they do these like baffles is a little different. They're offset, and so they had. I mean, these guys have thought a lot about this, and that's wonderful. I'm glad someone's doing that. At the end of the day, it's going to be a high-end, very expensive ultralight quilt that a lot of us will drool over and probably not buy.
Okay.
But we would like to. We would accept it as a gift.
We accept it as a gift. That's awesome. My next one is I met with Osprey, and they have quite a few new things. I'm going to focus on just one of them, which is, so like I think they've realized that there's quite the boom in the ultralight pack industry, so they want in on this. So they've got the Thru-Lite ultralight pack. It comes in a 40 and a 55 liter. I think it was a 55 that weighed 1.75 pounds, if I got my notes correct there. It's like not a Dyneema pack. It's just got the weather resistance, got the roll top. I think the one I was looking at has like, you have the option of the roll top or the brain on top, and they give you both. And then, I could be wrong on that one, but there's like a lot of...
No, you're right. I remember that one.
What I like about the Osprey packs, like it's not going to be the lightest of the ultralight packs in the market. But I think the key here is where this is going to compete is that it's adjustable, and it has like an easy adjustment, like the little slider on the frame itself. It's got an aluminum frame, so it's got the slider, so you can easily adjust it. And so for people like me that really need to dial in their pack adjustment, and if it hits them wrong, like it just really, there's like a lot of wear and tear in the muscles for me.
Yeah,
I think this is going to definitely defeat packs that are not adjustable. So yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this one.
I agree, and I like that one as well. And it does have the an actual aluminum frame in there, and then it had I like the fact that it is not going to cost. I don't remember the price on it, but Osprey being kind of in the middle.
I don't know if they said,
but it's not going to cost what, say, the new Mountain Hardwear Alakazam costs, which I tried that pack out this year. It is a pretty awesome pack, but it's made of that fancy Alula fabric, which sounds more like an exotic dance than it does a backpack material. But anyway, that's what you're paying for, and those kind of things. And that's like a $600 pack. I can't imagine this is going to be a $600 pack. So I appreciate, Osprey, people might think of them as a mainstream brand, but at the end of the day, they're actually still kind of a small outfit out of some little mountain town in Colorado. And
you view Osprey as a small outfit, really?
Not smallish. I mean, if we're looking in the grand scheme of things, like they're pretty specialized in the grand scheme of things, right? They do packs and they do luggage for travel. In the outdoor industry that like we most participate in, they might seem kind of big, and I'd say they're mainstream because of their distribution, right? That you can find them everywhere. They're in all the big box stores and all over the internet. That gives them certain advantages. But like last year I was in Durango, Colorado at the Outdoor Media Summit, and in Osprey, apparently their office is just like a town over from there or something.
Right, Cortez. Yeah.
There you go. And bless their hearts.
When you say, wait a minute, whatever you're about to say is not blessing their heart. Go ahead.
No, it is.
Okay.
It is. I think, a lot of these guys that have been in the business for longer than some of these other guys. So Osprey's been in the business for a while.
Right.
I think sometimes they get a bad rap, right? Because we're like, oh, they're not cool anymore. They've been doing it too long. Move over. Let these other little guys play in the jungle gym. Well, sometimes those big old dogs are still just good old dogs. And I think Osprey makes some good stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Osprey, we've given them a lot of love over the years in our podcast. I met with them a few years ago at the Outdoor Retailer Show, and they had this like big booth, and I'm coming up, I'm like, backpacking Osprey, this is a natural fit. And all of their reps were like super standoffish, where I had to like go seek them out. They were kind of like hiding in the back, and I was like, what's going on? Like, what, why are you guys, I basically asked, like, why are you so unwelcoming? And they said, we're just, like we've had enough of the folks coming up to us telling us that we're, that they have a better pack design, that like they've got the latest greatest, and that we might be worthy enough to hear their pitch, essentially. So like basically arrogant kids in their 20s who were just like, I can do it better than you. And they're like, we've been making packs for decades. Like we know what we're doing, and we've tested everything. We have the experience. And so they just had enough of that. So that kind of blew me away that well, first of all, just that, people would do that, that they would be that arrogant. But second of all,
right.
that I just kind of reminded me like they have a ton of experience. So they've probably tried and failed with a lot of these ideas, right?
Yeah. And look, there's plenty of people who go outside, they go backpacking, they go hiking, camping, they do all the things that you and I like to do, but they don't listen to this podcast. They don't watch Outdoor Empire videos. They don't really do it for the gear, they're just out there. And a lot of those people are probably ended up with an Osprey because they're available.
Correct.
They seem quality. They're well reviewed. They're in the big box stores. Someone's going to put it on their back and size them up and say, yeah, this one fits you well. How about that? And they'll say, that sounds good. Let's go camping, So I think I think it's a fine product. And for people that like the OG brands, no shame in that. You don't have to go with everything Ultralight and which that's fun too. Right. I like it all. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But
all right, there you go, Osprey. So what's your next one?
Well, actually, I'll take the other Osprey one. Okay. Now we're on the topic, which is the Exos.
Yeah,
I'm saying this on behalf of my colleague John, who was there with me, and I ran the camera on that one, and he was doing the little interview because he was happy to see that. He's been an Exos evangelist for well over a decade. He's had 2 or 3 of them. The one he's currently on that he still backpacks with. I've been on a trip with him this year, and that's what he's using. He's had it for 7 or 8 years. It's probably 2 or 3 generations old already, but they're coming out with a new Exos, and John's eyes lit up like a kid in a candy shop, dude. He was like, wow, this is incredible.
Another one.
Just when I thought they'd done everything they could do. They shaved like another pound off it because I think the Exos Pro, even in the 55-liter size, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was also under 2 pounds.
Really?
And yes, it was like the weight difference between that new Thru-Lite and the Exos 55 Pro was minimal.
Wow.
It might even be the same material. Don't quote me on that, but it had a lot of similar features and functions. Still has that trampoline back, all the good ventilation, some of the, callbacks to the old stuff, the big outside pocket, all the things. But and even the normal Exos is getting an upgrade. So guarantee you those packs are gonna still probably sell like hotcakes because it's a thing people know, and it's like $100 or $200 cheaper than the cottage brands doing cool newfangled things without all the distribution.
And you mentioned the Mountain Hardware pack, which is, that's not a cottage brand one, but that is a $600 pack.
Yeah, right.
But that one's also not adjustable. So
correct, yeah.
They got them on that too.
Yeah. So I think that new Exos looks like a pretty darn pack. Like if I were to say, like, someone comes and asks me, hey, I want to get into backpacking, haven't done it, I'm going to try it. I don't want to go spend tons of money, but I think I'm probably going to like it. And I'd rather just buy one thing that'll last me a few years instead of something I'm going to recycle next year. An Osprey Exos is not a bad option.
No, it's a great one for sure.
Yeah.
I use Osprey packs forever and ever, especially carrying heavier loads. Like if I'm bringing the family with me and I'm the one carrying the whole tent, those are great. So, okay. Third one I got is Nemo. They had quite a few things. And they had things coming out this year. I mean, they had their Eclipse pad this year, but they've got some tent updates and a new tent for next year. So I've been using their Hornet. They've got the Hornet and they got the Hornet Elite. And the Hornet is they're kind of skeletonizing the pole setup. They have that big, thick plastic piece. I forget what they called that thing, but that's gone. And so now their 2-person, just regular Hornet comes in at under 2 pounds, at least according to their stat sheet. And the Elite is 1 pound, 11 ounces, which is pretty dang light, especially for a semi-freestanding tent. They still have their Osmo material, which is the material that essentially just is less saggy than the nylon, but is proprietary to them. And so they got that. But then their new thing is they've got the Wildcat Osmo.
Yes.
Okay, so you saw that one too?
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so that's basically just a little bit bigger Hornet where it's got 30% more livable space. It's also got the shorter pole sections for bikepacking. They're hyper aware of the bikepacking movement. This one weighs in at 2 pounds, 4 ounces for a 2-person, which is a little bit over 2.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. I mean, I love the Nemo tents. We actually did a video where we took all 5 of the currently available Nemo backpacking tents. Wow. We just compared them head to head this year. That was really fun. Of course, we didn't have the new Wildcat, but that it's another one of those SUV crossover iterations, right? If you imagine that Dragonfly had a baby with the Hornet, it is the Wildcat. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's just a little more space, semi-freestanding like the Hornet, but the things that kind of annoy me about the Hornet will probably be resolved in there, but you're still not going to have quite the wiggle room.
When people are presenting to you and they're telling you all about it, are you coming up with these terms and these like analogies, and are you sharing them with the presenters by any chance?
Oh man, sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes my thoughts are not related to the topic of conversation at all, and sometimes I feel like
what's for lunch?
Yeah, or they haven't fully matured. And so if I let them out of my mouth, it'd be like letting a toddler out and say what they want. Then that's not going to go well. So I thought, well, I better not offend anybody. So I'll wait, and then I say things to John in the hallway, and he's like, "Yeah, it's probably good we didn't say that." But no, just things like, after you've seen, mini rain jackets, for example, you're like, that is a rain jacket. The end. Okay.
Why didn't you just present to me that way? This is our rain jacket. The end.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Sometimes, like so there's like half the folks that are presenting there are like super fun, high energy.
Right.
They got good personalities, and there's some people that are just like hyper serious, low energy. And so I'm just imagining you spitting out some of these ideas for those folks. Anyway,
I try to keep it friendly. We're not out to disparage anybody. We're just out to have a good time.
Yeah, same thing. Okay, all right. So third one, what you got?
All right. So my third one, this might be one you had. I'm gonna steal it from you if it is.
Okay.
The Exped Ultralux pad.
Oh,
did you see that one?
I wanted to see that one. There's like 4 companies that couldn't fit on my schedule, and I love their Ultra. So this is different than the one that I reviewed a few weeks ago. So they have the Ultra pad that came out this year, which is like 6.5 hour value.
Yeah.
This is called the Ultralux. Is that right?
Yes. So it's basically I love that Ultra 6.5 hour too. I love the Ultra, the previous generation last year, and we did a sleeping pad test both last year and this year. Last year we had the old generation. It was one of my personal favorites, but it didn't win the top prize among our group consensus because we had like 9 guys voting on this. And then on this year's though, we did give it the top award. We only tested 6 new pads this year, but still, it was our favorite. It was my personal favorite again because it kind of solved the problems of the previous generation, which was they made it much more compact when it rolls up.
Right.
It was lighter. It's light. I can't remember the exact. I want to say like 20 ounces or something, but it's kind of like this is for a long wide pad too. I only do the long wide. I don't mess with that skinny boy stuff.
Wait, I thought that was like more of a 2-pounder then.
No. I think it's under 2. It's under 2. That's why I was like,
is it? Okay.
I was thinking, kudos. This is good. Like it's right in there with like the not quite as compact as the Nemo Tensor, but it's exact. It's basically the exact same weight and maybe the exact same pad as the Nemo Eclipse. They're pretty much the same thing. But we really like the Exped. So the Exped Ultralux coming in 2027 is essentially that pad, but then they made it. I learned this. The term is 3D. I've heard that term before in other contexts, but in this context, it means instead of like having the edge of the pad wrap around and have like one seam on the outside, so you've got this kind of rounded bulbous edge. So when they add its own fabric, so you got like this square edge, flat edge, 2 seams, one on top, one on bottom.
Right.
For example, the Therm-a-rest Neoloft.
Correct.
This is the Exped Ultralux. I mean, they didn't say it like this, but I'll say it like this. It is just to compete with the Therm-a-rest Neoloft.
Yeah.
It's got it's very thick. It's got a similar insulation, I believe, technology and rating as the Exped Ultra 6.5R that everybody's loving this year. But then it has a different material on the top that's softer and a little spongier, a little stretchier, sort of like that Neoloft. So if you really like that idea of like ultra comfort, it's like the Neoloft, except it's got the vertical baffles. It's that Exped green, a little darker green on top, but a softer material. It's going to cost a little more. I think they said like $260 or $280, which is up there with that Neoloft as well. But what they do, which I appreciate as a long wide pad purchaser, is they keep the same price for every size. They don't they don't discriminate based on size of pads.
Oh, I don't think I knew
Yeah,
that.
it's that way with their. It didn't really click for me until they said it to me like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's correct. So even their current Ultra 6.5R, it's the same price whether you get the regular size or the long wide size or anything in between. And they do make 5 sizes, so that's kind of nice.
And I am all in on the X-Fed pads. So I shared that I brought one on 2 of my trips this year, one to Canyonlands, one to Yosemite, where I had my wife, my daughter sleep on it because they sleep cold. And that 6.5 was just like a heater. So they're in on it. But when they both got on trips together, I actually ended up getting a second one because I liked it so much. And that's just the regular one. So I imagine
nice.
Aside from the price, I'll probably really like.
Right. Yeah, it's another $60 or $80. I can't remember what exactly they said it'd be, but the thing about those two though, they go on sale all the time, and when you get your REI 20% off, that's what you go buy. You know, it's a cool. It looks like an interesting pad. I think it'd also do. I do a lot of winter camping, and that's going to be fine. And I could probably lay that right on top of snow and be just comfortable.
I bet those things are stinking warm for sure. All right, we each have one more, so it's time for the Summit Answer. The Summit Answer of this episode is brought to you by Summit Something. Let's be honest, those cardboard Summit signs have had a good run, but after all the training, miles, and effort it took to reach the top, your accomplishment deserves better. Mark your moment with a Summit flag. Summit Something makes ultralight packable Summit flags that help you celebrate the moment you finally reach the top. They're custom designed specifically for each summit to become a keepsake you'll want to display at home. I brought them to Half Dome Summit last month, and they were a hit. And now Summit Something has been adding more new adventures to the collection. The Manitou Incline, Guadalupe Peak, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Appalachian Trail, Glacier National Park, and dozens of other iconic destinations. So whether you're planning your next hike or celebrating one you just finished, Summit Something has a flag to help you remember it. Check them out at summitsomething.com. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. All right, so my Summit Answer, last one I got is one of my favorite brands, Cascade Designs. We just mentioned the Neoloft.
Yeah.
So they're coming out with 2 new pads. They only had one there at the show, but the Neoloft, I don't know how they're doing this or what this is going to look like, but they're making like an XXL version. So like, I'm imagining it's wider, but it's already pretty wide.
Is it for like 2 people, or is it supposed to be a one person?
That's what I thought, but usually when it's for 2, they call it like the double. So
interesting.
I don't think so. I think it's just like a wider, or I don't know. It's a bigger Neoloft essentially. So that one, more information coming. But then the cooler thing is, so they've got the pad that's between the Neo Air and the Neo Loft in terms of like thickness and comfort, and they're calling that one the Trail Mix. And so it's just like a tweener pad. But what's cool about the pad is like it looks, I mean, it really does look like a hybrid between those 2 pads. So you're going to get the comfort. It's not going to be as light as the Neo Airs or as thick as the Neo Loft. It's going to be the tweener, but it's coming in at around $150. So
not bad.
Which, if you look at the pad prices, like, I don't want to say it's a budget pad, but it's up there.
No, it's half of some of the nice ones, you know. Yeah, that one does look pretty cool.
Right.
I remember seeing that, and John and I also turned to each other and thought, why has nobody ever named a product the Trail Mix before? And now people are probably going to comment and say, yes, they have, and that's great.
Yes, they have. I can tell you right now, Nathan has a running vest.
There you go. All right. Perfect.
And is Trail Mix, like, I just learned this from one of the companies at the show. They were like, anytime you name a product, you have to run it by legal to make sure that it's not already taken, unless it's like a national park or like the name of a trail, and then you don't have to.
And I think you can still do it. They just have to be different product categories. Like if an air conditioner manufacturer wanted to name a product the Trail Mix, they probably wouldn't be having any trademark infringement with Therm-a-rest.
Right.
Probably also wouldn't sell very well.
What happens when it like starts to cross over? So like, for example, Yeti is the name of like a mountain bike company. Then they started making coolers, but then they bought a backpacking brand. They bought Mystery Ranch. So now it's like they're in kind of a similar space, right?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I
don't know. That's for a different type of professional than myself.
Yeah, different episode. That's when we have like a lawyer on, I guess. So, all right. So that was mine. Last one. What you got?
So you're gonna love this because apparently you love them sheeps. But I thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with Wool Power.
No, really? Oh my gosh.
I concur. There's a lot of merino wool going on out there, and I don't even know if there's merino. They just called it wool. But I liked it. Dude, I liked their story. They were very nice ladies.
They were.
There was even the CEO was there. She's a Swedish woman, and she gave some interesting context and backstory about their company. They make their own stuff all in Sweden, and they even use the models in their photographs are all their employees. And I thought, well, good for you guys.
Yeah.
And then when you buy something, when you get something, a sweater or whatever, it has a little tag in there with the name of the person that made it for you.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I like a personal touch, and I actually put on their sweater vest, and I'm also, I am not a fashionable fella. I go for function. And so, and I like, as it turns out, I learned this a couple of years ago, I like a vest. All right. I've arrived at that point in my life.
Like a hiking vest?
Oh, it doesn't really matter. I wear a Carhartt vest sometimes. I wear a puffy vest sometimes, just like a vest. It's just like, no arms. Your arms are nice and cool, but your core is nice and warm. And I like that for a good part of the year, as it turns out, in Idaho. So I put on that sweater vest, and I was looking around, and I thought, this feels right. I have no idea what it looks like. There was no mirror in there. Probably looked like, an armless Mr. Rogers, but I was into it. I thought it was great. And it felt good.
You're trying on clothes there?
I tried on that vest.
Okay. I that wasn't even offered to me.
It was an XXL. I usually wear an XL. They didn't have that, but even the XXL, I'm like, this feels right. It feels right. And it's long, because those Scandinavians, they're tall. And so they make tall things. And I run into that where, a lot of times I'm putting on a jacket, whether it's a $500 fancy jacket or something cheap off of Amazon. And I bend over to stoke the fire, and there's a part of my backside that gets a little bit exposed that other people would rather not be exposed. And that would not happen with wool power sweater vest.
Okay.
So I like it.
Solving problems.
Solving problems and telling sweet stories. That's what I'm all about.
I just think this reaffirms the award that I gave you earlier about paying attention, because it was probably like the 7th company that I met with that was wool, and then they just had a lot of information to share.
They're new to the U.S. Sounds like that. Literally, like I think she said July 1st they launched an online store, and so they're just getting their feet wet over here, but they've been around a long time apparently, and they're not all these fancy bright colors, which I'm fine with personally. It's like black or navy blue or brown,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I like a minimalistic kind of situation, and that looked to check that box for me.
So you're the target market for bland colors, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Portly old mustached men.
All right. There you go. Of all of these things, which one would you be most excited about coming out in the future? And this isn't everything. Like there's definitely more stuff coming.
Oh yeah, there's
a lot. All right. Like Chase, I'm gonna put you through the lightning round, my friend. So
okay.
All right, we got the lightning round coming up. The lightning round is brought to you by Magnet Designs. Check out the Ultralight Alpha Joggers, one of their best sellers. They can be used as camp pants, a base layer, or even pajama pants, and they only weigh between 3 and 6 ounces. They provide a ton of comfort without the added weight. Check out these popular joggers that come in men and women's cuts by Googling Magnet Designs. All right, you've got 1 minute to answer as many questions as you can. Timer starts after I ask the first question. Are you ready for this?
I believe so.
Okay. What is the absolute best cooler brand?
Unfair. Oh, you're going to put me in a pickle, but I'm going to say Maluna. Right now, Maluna out of Minnesota, they make some pretty sweet coolers for ice retention.
Okay. The best thing about Idaho?
Jeez, we have everything we need. Abundant public land that we can play on.
Your favorite mustached celebrity?
Mustache celebrity, dude. Who has a mustache?
Tom Selleck.
Oh, yeah. Is he the guy? He's Quigley Down Under,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, Tom Selleck.
Okay. A non-outdoor skill you have?
A non-outdoor skill. Boy, I have an ability that's a little bit uncanny to identify the make and sometimes model of a vehicle just based on their headlights coming at me. You'll never be able to test it and prove otherwise, so I'm running with it.
I'm going to test that one someday. All right. Something you find boring.
Oh, geez. Boring. I find... Oh, I only got 1 minute. I find
Already passed a minute, by the way.
Oh, right on. Okay, well, sorry about that. I tend to think a lot. Boring to me is turning around. Yeah, turning around. I don't like to turn around. I'd rather go down and see where this road leads than turn around and go back the way I came.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. You were far below average with your answers, but you had some amazing answers, though.
on my yeah, that's the story of my life right there. Slower, I'll be there sometime after all of you, but that was an interesting thought.
Now, I was laughing, so I definitely added some time, but I think you're more like at a minute and a half. You got 5 there. Not a true lightning round, but
no.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, first of all, the boring thing is an amazing answer because I'm the same way. I don't want to do like an out and back on a trail either. Like I want to make it into a point to point or a loop or something, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Before we started doing Outdoor Empire, I thought I'm going to make a website. Now somebody can take this idea and run with it if they really want. I'm going to make a website called loopsonly.com, and it's going to be only hiking trails that are loops. I'm not even going to mess with that other stuff.
Okay.
You don't want to turn around? This is for you.
Pure loops, like not even like lollipops, right? Like no stems.
Oh yeah, no lollipops. Not unless I can like teleport from the stem of the lollipop back home.
That's fair, which might be something that could happen in the future.
I might consider. That might slip in.
Okay. I love Quickly Down Under. That's a great movie reference right there.
Yes.
I like that one. And I didn't realize how controversial my first question would be about the cooler thing.
Oh.
So, sorry. I apologize.
Oh, hey, it's all right. It's like you're saying, who's your favorite dog or child, you know? No, Maluna makes a great cooler. The fact is, there's so many cooler brands out there, right? So many. As I didn't know how many there were until I started doing these videos. And it's incredible. But there's a lot of good ones out there. Maluna has won our ice challenge.
Right, that's what I thought you said that one. Right.
For a few years, or been second place to this weird German cooler that we got to. But it's the ones like that I'd probably take out, and I take a different cooler almost every time. But that's definitely comes to the top. There's a lot of other good ones I like too. Okay. Arctic. I even like Yeti. I like to rib them and give them a hard time, but there's a lot of good coolers out there.
And cooler did not make your list. Like we met with a cooler company, so I thought that might make your list, but it didn't. I think you definitely tailored some things to backpack, which I appreciate. But yeah, it could have been anything.
Yeah. No, Arctic makes some cool stuff. We've done work with them before too, and yeah, what I like about them is they do address the value, I guess, or the affordability. They kind of make just as good of stuff as everyone else, but they knock off $100 or $200, and that's quite nice when you're spending a lot of money on a piece of gear. Hopefully, you use for the rest of your life.
All right, so Chase, what can we look forward to coming up on your YouTube channel, Outdoor Empire? What's coming up?
You bet. So real soon, you'll see some videos from the Outdoor Market Alliance. So from this event that we just did, you'll see some videos coming out. Get a sneak peek at some of that 2027 gear.
Okay.
We'll do a series of them because there was just so much. I was like, I can make one like 5-hour-long video, or we can make a few shorter ones. So keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
I've got a couple kayak camping and fishing trips coming up here, and we're going to film some videos, not so much about the trip, but about the gear we use along the way, and just some good old fun. And then a lot of folks have enjoyed these show and tell videos John and I have done, where it's just a bunch of nonsense banter looking at new and weird camping products. So sometimes it's it's like a Home Shopping Network meets I don't know, the Andy Griffith Show, but for the modern era.
That's so funny. Home Shopping Network.
Yeah, and we don't even care if you buy the thing.
Like backpacking themed, of course. It's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of that. We also are working on. Actually, I'm working on kind of under the hood, but we've had a lot of folks really enjoy the sort of helpful people that are just getting into camping. They're new to it, or they're coming back to it maybe after a long time. They did it when they were kids with their family, and now they're grown adults and they got kids of their own. They want to go out. So we're working on a series of content just to make that bar seem lower and more approachable to get people outside. That's what ultimately we're all about.
Okay.
We just want to
a lot of good stuff coming up.
About getting the family out there.
Yeah. Definitely have the cooler video and then your channel linked in the show description. Man, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a pleasure and honor having you on the show, Chase.
Of course, likewise. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
All right, please subscribe if you always want to know the future in the outdoor world. And remember, folks, coolers aren't friendly. They're ice cold. Have a good day and God bless.
Yo, B&B. Hope everybody's doing well out there. And I'll tell you this, praise God, my family's doing well. We're driving home from Mammoth. Jennifer's doing well. Thank you for all the prayers. Really appreciate them. And on this drive home, we've been thinking of what does the future of backpacking look like? Well, Jennifer had a great idea of something that could be coming down the road, that I could actually see Carl patenting trekking poles, which are filled with bear spray at the top. Obviously, you need some sort of safeguard so you don't spray it in your friend's face. I know that a guy like Carl could get the right people behind him and that he could invent trekking poles that prevent you from having to reach back into your backpack to get bear spray out so that you could react immediately if you are ever stunned by a bear. And we've all heard stories on the B&B where that has happened. The only thing, Carl, you just need 25% of whatever you make off of it. That's what Jennifer and by default me would ask. Yes, but what about in 2050? What if there were jet backpacks? Jet backpacks, everybody. You get to those streams that you have to cross, and I don't mind them. I just walk through and then just let it air dry, let the feet air dry as I walk afterwards. But I know a lot of people, they go back and forth. What's the best way to get through a stream? Well, if you had a jet backpack, the best way to get across the stream, fly over it. And then if you didn't have time to train for a backpacking trip, by all means, put on your jet backpack and just fly the whole thing. That would obviously make it a lot easier. The future of backpacking.
Meet Keith, loving dad, board game champ, bus driving pro.
I drive 65,000 miles in my bus each year. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like how there are some things I simply can't see. On my route the other day, a car tried to sneak past me and ends up right in my blind spot. I turned slowly, so accident avoided. But no car should be in the blind spot for a 40,000-pound bus. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.